When you look at the price of Bitcoin right now, since you started there, what do you think it ultimately lands at? And what do you think the window is right now for it?
Oh, you know, I've been saying this for a long time. It's roughly doubled every year for 12 years that we've been doing this. So I think it keeps doing that for at least a few more years. It's still a very low single-digit percentage of global wealth. So I think it could go up to 750,000 in the next 4 or 5 years.
Investment firm Pantera announcing a Solana digital asset treasury company to be listed on the NASDAQ. Joining us right now is the man behind it all, Dan Moorhead. He's the founder and managing partner of Pantera. Good morning to you.
Good to see you.
Help explain what's going on here. I want to understand what you're doing, but also this sort of larger phenomena of these treasury companies and how we and the public and investors should think about them.
Sure. So for 12 years, we've been trying to provide access, but it's normally to very institutional investors. This is the first product we've ever offered that you can just go buy at your brokerage account. So it allows access to cryptocurrencies to kind of normal investors. And so far, Solana doesn't even have an ETF, so it's very, very difficult for a normal investor to get access to Solana.
And is this a levered fund?
No, it's just a way to own Solana, get yields on Solana with no leverage. It's a very simple company, actually. All it does is just buy Solana.
Just buys Solana. And over time, as more people get access to the actual coins, how do you think that changes the dynamic with the treasury companies and the ETFs? I mean, I think that's one of the big questions is people can buy Bitcoin directly through a Coinbase or whatever, or they can buy Solana, or they can buy it now through a treasury. And how you see over time that sort of mix taking place.
Yeah, there's an evolution. We launched the first Bitcoin fund in the world. That was the easiest way to get access. Then now an ETF is very easy. So you don't have to get a wallet. You don't have to do all these complicated things. That's going to happen to each of these major currencies like Solana. Right now there's no ETF. It's very difficult to get. Most people don't have a Coinbase wallet. So for people with a brokerage account, this is the easiest way to get access.
How do you think about Ethereum versus Solana right now?
So
in terms of the better bet.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of important blockchains over time. Solana is the fastest, cheapest, most performant, and so it's actually had better performance than even Bitcoin over the last 4 years. And that's why we want to have access to normal investors to something that's not very well known, but actually has been outperformed.
Do you think that one though outperforms the other? They're used for different purposes. One, it's a winner take all. What's your thought?
No, it isn't. It's not like there's not a winner take all on the internet, right? We have lots of different internet companies. There will be lots of blockchains that are important. But our biggest position is Solana. We have 1.1 billion of Solana on our books.
But how many different protocols do you think long term? So yes, there's lots of companies, but there's not lots of protocols on the internet.
Great question. I think there's a single digit number of layer ones. Things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. Not thousands, but definitely not one.
Mm-hmm. And is there anything that you've seen come on the scene where you go, that technology is actually better?
Well, right now, Solana. Our biggest position is Solana. We've had huge positions in Ethereum in the past. We used to be 100% Bitcoin. Something could come out tomorrow.
Is there anything out there, though, that's interesting to you? The reason I ask is I would hope that, Solana was created many years ago. Ethereum was created many years ago. Bitcoin was created many, many years ago.
Yeah.
I would like to think that technology and technologists have come up with better solutions since then.
Well, Solana could do, I think, 9 billion transactions a day, which is more than all capital markets combined. So It's not obviously need that next thing past Solana.
So you think it just doesn't matter?
Yeah, and there might be other use cases, other like Ripple's going after Swift, Bitcoin's digital gold. There's several different major use cases, but Solana's very good at the performant blockchain.
Is there a staking element to all of this?
Yeah, so Solana typically yields about 7%, and that's another thing. A typical investor that wants to buy $10,000 of Solana is probably not going to figure out how to do that, whereas our digital asset treasury company will do that for them.
Explain how it works to the public.
So you buy a ticker just like any other stock. HS.
No.
Yeah.
How you capture the 7%, and why somebody who owns Solana directly wouldn't be capturing that?
It's cumbersome to do staking. You have to find a staking company. You have to pay them, all those things. And so it's just cumbersome. People could do it themselves, but it's just a hassle. And so most people don't.
We have a framework for a TikTok deal. The two leaders, President Trump and Party Chair Xi, will speak on Friday to complete the deal. But we do have a framework for a deal with TikTok.
We're very focused on TikTok and making sure that It was a deal that is fair for the Chinese and completely respects U.S. national security concerns.
Is for it to switch to U.S.-controlled ownership. But again, I'm not going to get ahead of the leaders' call on Friday. We have a framework. They'll have to confirm the deal.
Speaking of which, the president also posted this morning about potentially changing companies' quarterly reports, saying, quote, subject to SEC approval, companies and corporations should no longer be forced to report on a quarterly basis, quarterly reporting, but rather to report on a 6-month basis. This will save money, allow managers to focus on properly running their companies. Jim, the Securities Exchange Act of 34 might have something to say about this.
It's interesting because in a lot of countries, you can do it that way, and basically, it's like, it is better. I remember Andy Grove in Only the Paranoid Survive said the quarter is the essence. That's exactly the time that we should use to measure CEOs.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you head in the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And never forget, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. We have Dan Moorhead of Pantera Capital. Says Bitcoin get at 750,000 in 4 to 5 years. And guys, what do? That's all we do is watch the Fed. The Fed is going to always let you know which way the market is going. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And he says he's going all in on Solana. And those who've been with me from the beginning, those who are in this actual space, we know why. Remember, Pantera Capital and Galaxy got Solana on the low. Remember, when FTX fell, Solana also fell along with it. And that allowed them to get Solana at a discounted price. But of course, guys, nobody's going to know that except for us. So when he's pushing it in the mainstream media, nobody's going to question it. Remember, this is a planned game. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. But you want to buy and stake your own crypto and learn the process. But he was exactly right. The average person is not going to want to do it. So what do? They bring in a product as convenience. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And then we have TikTok. Yes, the meeting, guys, is when? Of course, on Friday. They have some type of framework. But we know TikTok is definitely not going to be the same down the road. That algorithm is definitely going to change because we know China and U.S. are going to go head to head. So we're going to sit back, get our popcorn, let it play out. But TikTok down the road is definitely going to be changing. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have Jim Cramer says the Trump idea for reporting stock earnings every 6 months instead of every quarter is a good idea. And we know Jim Cramer is going to go right along with it. But that's his major job. Every quarter, that's what they get to talk about. And we know earnings move the market. But over these next 2 years, we're going to have mass layoffs. So that people are going to be out the picture. So they're not going to care about any earnings. They're going to be getting universal basic income. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And then we have Trump wants that big cut. And we know he's not going to get it. But Jerome Powell may leave that door open for more cuts down the road. And we know if he does, the mainstream media is going to run with it. And then also the bond market is going to run with it. So if the bond market, that long end, drops back in the threes, guys, we know Bitcoin and crypto are going to steady move up. Only thing we have to do is watch the Fed and the bond market. Just follow the money. But with the Fed keeping rates higher for longer, we know it's putting pressure on these small and medium-sized banks and businesses. And that's just going to keep the layoffs coming, which we know small business is what keeps this economy going. Because we can already see the big corporations are already laying off, and they're already deep into AI. When you have cars with no pedal and no steering wheel, that means they don't want a person driving. And remember, all this technology is not for the older generation. It's for the younger generation. And we know a lot of these millennials and Generation Zs do not have a car. Actually, they price out of getting a brand new car, let alone a new house. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have RFK Jr. cracking down on these Chinese vapes. And guys, we know they should be cracking down on fentanyl, but what do they do instead? Put a tariff on it. That's right, guys. They're getting paid. You can't make this stuff up. And we know RFK Jr. knows all about the fourth industrial revolution. Probably had one of the greatest speeches ever. And it was similar to his uncle's secret society speech. But of course, the sheep stay asleep, and majority of them have never heard it. And then we have Mark Rubio on revoking visas on foreigners celebrating the death of a political figure. And you can clearly see the agendas that they're pushing around this event. And we know the Hegelian dialectic and divide and conquer is undefeated. It will always distract the masses while you move towards the agenda. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Where it would seemingly require an act of Congress, but it hasn't. Right. So you can't not take this seriously. What would happen, Jim, if we went to half-yearly reporting?
Candidly, I think it would be better. I think we're too short-sighted.
Really?
Yeah, I really do.
You feel like you get enough information from companies? Where would it come from?
I just think that there's too many companies trying to do a turn and are intimidated by the next quarter. That people think about the next quarter. When you deal with a lot of companies, look, next quarter, or this. I mean, it's a very tough time frame. Now, I used to agree with Grove. I now find there's companies that are trying to do long-term thinking, and they're just whacked by the quarter. Whacked. I mean, look, Eaton today, upgraded by Melius. Okay, now Eaton does electrical transformation. They're building a new plant. They have to make more capacity. The plant doesn't come on time. Next thing you know, everyone downgrades Eaton.
No, but how are you supposed to have a sense as to how a company, 6 months is a fairly long time. Okay. By the way, the volatility you could imagine around earnings season would be enormous, given you might not have heard from these companies unless they're going to conferences and sharing more. But they got Reg FD, they might all, who knows?
That's what I'm thinking, that you would just do, like there's a Laguna conference Morgan Stanley has, and they let them talk during the period. Let them talk. Make the quiet period maybe the last 6 months, 6 weeks. Look, I'm saying it's better for them. For us, no.
Yeah, I was going to say you're normally a voice for the shareholder.
Yeah,
and I assume for the shareholder you'd want more high frequency.
I want all the information possible. If I were a CEO, I would be welcoming this because it is so hard to do a quarterly job. I mean, look, Warren Buffett is the only guy who's transcended. No one cares about this quarter. It's like meaningless. But everybody else is hostage. So if I were a CEO, I'd want that. Now, I would tell you, as someone who's reporting the news, I want something every day from these guys. But I am not dismissive of what the CEOs might want because I have to think about the president's thinking. He may not be as oriented toward the shareholder, more oriented toward the CEO.
It's not the first time this has come up, Carl. I mean, under Jay Clayton, it was discussed as well. He may push back on it. Again, I don't know if you remember, but we've been
pointing out this op-ed from Diamond and Buffett in 2018. Short-termism is harming the economy. You might recall this one.
I think this part of short-termism.
Did they recommend potentially going to
the subhead was
reporting?
Public companies should reduce or eliminate the practice of estimating quarterly earnings.
Yeah.
Well, the estimates, it is just brutal because it's made it so that when the CFO talks, everything just stops. And if they don't raise the FAR numbers, then the stock just.
What are you going to do?
The Fed chairman's incompetent. I think you have a big cut because I don't think he can help with cutting. It's perfect for cutting.
Michael McKee, Bloomberg Chief Economics and Policy Correspondent, joins us now. Mike, Trump expecting a big cut. What are markets expecting?
Markets are not expecting a big cut, and the president is likely to be disappointed. However, he is likely to get a cut.
The Fed eased primarily using their balance sheet and tightened primarily using their rate policy. That created very, very tight financial conditions for floating rate small businesses, small bank borrowers. Leslie, you'll like this. One of the biggest manifestations of this is the spread between return on equity of the regional bank index and the large banks has never, it's near historic wides at about 4%. So small banks are not earning their cost of capital, not creating credit, not buying securities, not making loans, and large banks are in a much stronger position. So again, you could see the same thing in the duration of the high yield index versus the investment grade credit index. The way the Fed tightened really hurt the small business sector. And we see that in the underperformance of the Russell 2000 over the last couple of years. So there is a part of the economy, housing is part of this, that desperately needs a steep yield curve. Last year, the 100 basis points of cuts merely took away the deep inversion of the curve. This year, it would steepen it, lower financing rates for floating rate borrowers, revive the housing market. We've already seen the spread of mortgages to treasuries tighten considerably, and really jumpstart Main Street, so to speak. So that part of the economy really needs it, and that's what the labor market weakness is all about. If you assume, which I would for sure, and it may have actually gotten worse, that overestimation of monthly job growth of nearly 80,000 jobs per month continued from April through August, and it probably got even bigger, then employment growth is zero. We arguably have a recession in the labor market, and we certainly have real struggles for small businesses. So that's what the Fed needs to address here. The financial conditions, because of the Fed's balance sheet, anybody who finances out the curve are still relatively loose, and the stock market benefits from that. But conditions for Main Street are really tight.
The Chinese are getting richer while our children get sicker. And we're putting an end to that. Confiscated 50 truckloads of this material. And 90% of it comes from China. So these kind of operations we're doing to target the biggest distributors, but also to send a message throughout this entire industry that this will not be tolerated anymore, that there's a new sheriff in town.
We should not be giving visas to people who are going to come to the United States and do things like celebrate the murder, the execution, the assassination of a political figure. We should not. And if they're already here, we should be revoking their visa. Why would we want to bring people into our country that are going to engage in negative and destructive behavior?
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe
This technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Basak. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Crypto Teacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team Save the Village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Team Save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Team goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.